Welcome back, motherfuckers. I have a couple thoughts I want to share with you, and I hope you have the patience, or if you don't have the patience, it doesn't really matter. But when I talk, I don't usually get right to the point. I kind of like to do a little dance in explaining things, and that's sort of my little way of my little crazy, I guess. But I hope the framing's not too weird. I found this cool little spot, this abandoned building. I'm still I'm still in Badolato, Italy here. I'm right next to this fucking mother pine tree, this beautiful tree, and it's just gorgeous. So if the lighting's a little weird, I mean, it's just gonna be how it is because I think it's too good of a spot. I sort of what was on my mind. I think I think I'm beginning to realize how crazy I am for this. I mean, really, like maybe I think it's obvious for other people, or I guess in my mind, the image I create of other people, if I told them what I'm doing, they would say I'm crazy. Most people. I'm using you as the person I can be most honest with in this life. Now, that is kind of crazy, especially since anyone I know can just look at this video. And so basically, I don't know exactly why I feel comfortable doing it this way, but I have the space, I have the time, and if someone I know, chooses to watch this, then they it's different than if I'm having a conversation with them or if I'm see them in person, because this is my space. So I welcome everyone to it, and I welcome my family and friends to watch this. But just know that this is my space. This is where I'm going to be genuine, and it's a little bit nerve wracking, but sort of the idea I wanted to share that was going through my head recently was how, in the past, I've looked at people, and maybe you can share in this. I've looked at people and I've thought that no one can understand me. Maybe I've already explained this already, so I'm sorry if I have. If I have, then I'm just going to do it in a better way. So it is what it is. I've thought no one will understand me, and if and and I've idealized people into thinking that they understand me, and then I've been let down into, oh, no, they don't understand this part of me, or they don't understand this part of me, or they like big chunks of me are missing from their understanding, from their empathy, and I've sort of like gotten my hopes up and then let my hopes get let down, right? And and then I sort of, from that, again, formed the conclusion, well, there's no fucking point in getting my hopes up because I'm just going to be let down. So why would I even assume that people can understand me? I'm never going to be understood. And that might be a valid way of thinking, but it's a very empty way of thinking, or that way of thinking leads to a very, yeah, I mean, I think I got it right the first, an emptiness, right? A separateness. I'm separate from the world. The world, and that can sort of go hand in hand with egotism. I'm better, or I'm different, and sort of this pride along with it. Oh, no one will understand me, boo-hoo, but I'm different, so no one will understand me. Like sort of this interesting loop. But I don't think there's anything really to reap from it. The way I've sort of changed my thinking that stays consistent with the reality is, sure, no one will understand me completely. I think that's really the truth of it. No one will understand me completely. and perhaps I won't even understand myself completely. Sort of the philosophy I'm entertaining right now is that this life is, I mean, the reason we're living this life, right? If that's what philosophy is, if philosophy is to answer what's the point of life, I think the point of this life is to understand it, or to gain some deeper understanding, or to experience it, whatever. I don't know if I can stay on track because I'll disagree with myself 100 times. I don't take myself seriously. I try to use these ideas and this is what I think. Yeah, but this is in a moment, right? This is what I think, and then thinking is also having the other thought that goes against it. So I don't know if that makes it hard to listen to, but this is just me. The point of why I'm living my life is to understand me. So why could I possibly imagine that anything else could understand me? Because that's why I'm living this life. That's why I've manifested in this form, to experience this thing, to understand this moment, this particular perspective. And so why should I expect anyone else to understand it? Why should I put that upon them or seek that from them, right? I think what I'm seeking truly is love from people, and then I'm saying, oh, that's too trite or too whatever, and so I'm going to label it with this more intelligent thing. Understanding, I just want to be understood intellectually. Well, then I can get that in certain aspects, but what does it really pay off to, right? The way I've shifted my perspective is, I think that we can all understand, this is my new little hypothesis. I think we can all understand one little part of ourselves, one little part of each other, I'll say, right? So instead of looking at it like, okay, no one's ever going to understand me, I'm like, well, I think everyone I meet's going to be able to understand one thing about me, and I'm going to be able to understand one thing about them, at least, right? And maybe the better friendships, we understand a handful or a couple dozen things. And of course, what is the thing, right? I'm just using this to communicate. It's more of like a percentage, or, it really isn't mathematical in this sense. But again, just to convey the idea. One little thing, one little something, one little morsel, one little bite, with whatever, with any form of life, like with this fucking bush, like maybe I can, I don't know if this metaphor is going too far, but it's honestly an amazing plant if I'm really thinking about it, because it's growing in this ruin. Like, it's just like soil fell from the pine needles of this pine tree, and needles fell from the tree, turned into soil along with whatever else, and so it turned into dirt. It's dry as fuck. But this thing, I mean, it's not super happy right now, but it's hanging on really well. And somehow it's fucking persevering, so I can relate to the struggles, or what, I don't know. This is stupid. I'd rather just appreciate the plant than... No, I think there is value in relating to it, but I just feel like it's a sort of a trite thing to do, but maybe that's something I need to get over. There's still value in it for sure. I think it more applies to human beings, right, and how we relate to each other. At least for me, that's the lesson that I'm learning right now, is how can I connect with as many people as possible, right? Even if they upset me, frankly, or that this thing, I don't agree with, or we're totally different in this way. Well, maybe in some way we're not totally different. Maybe in some way we're the same, actually. So let's find that. Let's find what that is. And I think that's a very interesting exercise, and I think that's so much more redeeming than the other exercise or the other mindset of no one will ever understand me, right? I think it's much more valuable. It gives me meaning. It fills up my chest, and that's really what I'm seeking in life. I'm seeking that feeling. So that's what I'm going to go for. And in that, tying that into where I'm at right now, when I first got here, I was so dismayed because I was just expecting to connect more with the people here, and I didn't connect much, and I passed that off as nothing. But as I've been talking about, life has really been teaching me the value of patience recently, and bit by bit, I've been rewarded for my patience, and sort of another layer I want to add on to that is I've been rewarded for my own curiosity, and I think that's so important, to ask questions and to challenge things. Not for everyone, maybe not everyone feels that need. If you feel that need, go for it. But I think maybe I'm a little bit different and special in that need, whatever. Where I want to challenge things. Why is it that way? Why is it this way? And this is a disadvantage as much as it is an advantage. Maybe it's a disadvantage more often. Or maybe people see it as a disadvantage, or maybe people are more annoyed by it more than they are excited by it, because it's like, okay, no, this is just how we do it. Why are you? But for me, that's how I actually learn and actually gain knowledge from what I'm doing and get more out of the experience that I'm having. If I'm going to be here, I want to be here. And to be here, I have to understand what the fuck is going on here, right? Otherwise, I could just, right? It's like, you could travel around the world in a fucking isolated, soundproof, no light is in or out box. And you could be on the fucking moon, maybe you'd feel it with the gravity. You could be on fucking Jupiter. You could be in Italy. You could be in fucking Thailand. You could be in the bottom of the ocean or fucking Colorado, wherever. You could be wherever in the world. It doesn't matter. You're still in this box, right? And I think that's a lot of how people travel, and they just, I don't know. I guess that's what I see. That's what I assume. I hope it's the other way around, but I think most people travel to just feel good, right? To maybe, and I don't know. I could totally be wrong. Maybe I'm talking more about vacation. And I don't know. I sort of despise the idea of vacation. I think that we should be crafting our lives to be that vacation. But maybe I'm just young and lucky. I don't know. I think what I also despise are tourists, and I sort of feel offended when I'm called a tourist, which, I mean, I guess technically I am, but I guess I stereotype it too much. Like the tourist as the person that just goes around and has the fucking checklist, checking off. Oh, I saw the bridge. I saw the clock. Oh, I saw the mountain. I saw the sea. Oh, I saw this. I saw that. I got a photo. Poop. Instagram. Doot. Like, that's my stereotype of a tourist, and that's the exact opposite. For me, I want to learn, what is this place? Again, is it similar? And in some ways, like, what are the similarities to what I know? How can I apply what I know to this place? And then from that, what are the differences, right? So going from the bottom, like, we're all the same, right? At a foundation, we all share the same understanding. Okay, let's go down to that understanding. Okay, and then let's work our way up into the branches, into the differences. And I find both of those journeys so fascinating. And for me, that's what's interesting about going to different places and meeting different people. Otherwise, yeah, you just stay in that soundproof, light-proof box and never experience anything and go everywhere. It doesn't matter. So for here, like, just I love just asking questions, like, what is this? How does this work? Like, it takes a certain amount of humbleness, right? Because it's like, So say someone's explaining something, right? Okay, this is how the scissors work, right? And you're like, let's say they're like, yeah, use the scissors like this. And so then it's assumed you know how the scissors work, right? And then if you're like, wait, I don't know how the scissors work. And then part of my brain's like, well, I could just go along with it. I could just say, yeah, go on to the next thing. Of course I know how scissors work. Yeah, I'm not an idiot. Or I could sort of break that egotistical thing, go back to a state of humbleness, go back to a state of learning so that I can actually gain the knowledge and be like, I'm sorry, could you explain that? How do scissors work? Oh, the two blades go against each other, they have pressure, whatever that thing is. Hey, oh, thank you. And now I have a greater understanding of when I'm using the scissors, how they work. I don't know if that's an applicable metaphor, but just choosing something, right? And now I made myself look like an idiot, right? I guess that's what the insecurity says, right? I made myself look like an idiot. But what outweighs that insecurity is the gratification of the knowledge and the gratification of that curiosity. And it feels like me. Like, I don't know. Like, I think maybe that's how we can get in touch with ourselves, right? Like with ourselves as we were as kids. That curiosity, that simple curiosity of just like, how, what, how. And I don't know if we all share that, but I think we do, right? There's a simple of like that wonder, like what is going on, right? What is going on here? And the willingness to learn, and the willingness to grasp onto things and just play around in the mud, because we're not worried about looking silly. And of course we look silly. We're children, of course, but we don't care because we don't have that insecurity. And I think going back to that like childlike state, or I don't even know if it's that childlike state, but just that wonder, that curiosity, it feels so right. It feels like I'm me. And then I feel like I'm letting down those barriers and I'm genuine. I feel like that's the key to being genuine. That's the key to being present. Like, is existing in that wonder, existing in that eternal question, the simple awe of the universe. And from that, it's like, yeah, that's going to create challenges, right? It's gonna maybe someone might feel offended by a certain question, or maybe other people might feel slowed down. Like I've had that, right, where I'm in a class, and I'm adding or asking questions, and I'm told to shut up by other students because they just want to hear it from the teacher. And I've felt so fucking annoyed by that. I'm like, what? We're all here to, and this wasn't like school. This was, I'll be more specific. This was when I was getting my training to be a ski instructor, right? And I'd already been a ski instructor, so I already knew a couple things. But I was really curious, and I was like trying to dig deeper into things, and so it was making things take longer. But I think for some of the other people there, or well, one individual in particular, I think for them it was not conducive to their understanding, or it was making them feel more confused. And so they asked me to shut up politely. And I didn't agree with that. But it is what it is. The point is, it's not easy. It's friction. Part of it is frictional with other people. But I don't know. Maybe that's a way of finding the people that are relevant. The relationships that matter. Because I think if someone cares about sharing knowledge, about forming a relationship, they're going to take that time and spend it with you. And they're actually going to be joyful, right? If you think about like a parent that wants to teach his kids something, if his kids are asking questions, I'm assuming that's a very joyful experience, because it means that I can only imagine, I can only put myself into that situation. I haven't existed in that situation, but putting myself into that situation, it's like, wow, this child cares. This child's interested, right? um, and and this is something I'm interested about too. While we're sharing this energy is coming together, and we're both learning. That's the experience that I've had as a teacher. Whenever I'm teaching, we're both learning. It's just maybe I've explained it a couple more times. Maybe I've studied it a little bit more, so I understand the concepts maybe a little bit more instinctually. But whenever teaching something, there's going to be other people that have a different perspective, and that perspective is going to change my understanding as a teacher of what I'm teaching. And so we're learning together, and we're just diving into this thing. We're diving into the subject together, diving into this wonder. And that's what's so beautiful about knowledge, about learning, and about sharing that knowledge, is it's just, I don't know, I guess the simplest way to put it is it's a beautiful feeling. And that's how I mean, if I can just spend my time doing that, that's what I want to do. Like, sitting down and, having lunch today, right? We all ate lunch together because the Spanish students that are staying with the host, they're concluding their time here. They're leaving tomorrow morning, and so we all ate together because they had been eating separately. We ate wild pig, which is local here, and it was this great meal. We all had wine together, and so for me, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna take that opportunity, and sure, maybe it wasn't about me, and so maybe this part of it's overstepping it, but I hope in what I'm doing that it's creating an atmosphere that everyone else can enjoy, and if not, I hope other people have the bravery enough to tell me, because I am very strong-headed, and so I understand that people that aren't necessarily as strong-headed, that it's maybe difficult for them to vocalize if I'm sort of taking over a situation, and that's something that I'm trying to be as cognizant as possible about. But I noticed from them that they didn't really have any curiosity that they wanted to follow, and so instead of just eating in silence, right, that awkward sort of thing, I start asking questions, and to the hosts, and we were talking about their project, because they did this study about different what's the word when you spray something on a leaf, not topical, that's like a but the leaf sprays. They did a couple leaf sprays on a couple different plants, and the results were really interesting, and it got my curiosity bubbling a little bit. So we were talking about that a little bit, and then I was having a conversation with Mario and Chris, my hosts, about how they've managed to work together as partners, and and they've and what I realized, like at the beginning, I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to connect with my hosts so much as I wanted to. What I realized is we have a lot that we connect on. It's just they've worked with many volunteers over the last 4 years, and from what they've shared, in the beginning, they had a lot of their that induced a lot of stress, and so they've solidified their boundaries more so with guests, which is now what I'm receiving, and in order to like maintain their peace, which is awesome and it's beautiful, but so it just it's the right time, the right place to like have this connection, and to to both gain something out of it, out of a conversation, or to at least just enjoy the time, right? And I don't know exactly where I'm going here, but I feel rewarded for my curiosity. I feel like that's something that doesn't really let me down ever, and it's tricky because I think it has to be done honestly, and it has to be done with care. For example, if I am not feeling the best, I think I can also trick myself into using my curiosity as a weapon. Or perhaps it's not even necessarily my curiosity. Maybe that's another part of me that's more argumentative. And like I remember the other day with Mario, maybe it was like a week ago or something, we were like, we were breaking up sticks, and I'm just like, I love mulch or whatever, and he's like, what I love more is I love cover crops instead, and for me, I'm like, what's the difference, and we and we got into this argument over mulch or cover crops, and for me, I thought they were different layers, and and there's something for me to learn, but maybe like there's a combination of both of our sides is what's right. Maybe I'm totally wrong. I don't know. I mean, what I love about that is who else cares enough about, plants and soil to even engage in that conversation. But I remember the energy of that. And on the surface, I mean, like if you read it in a transcript, it was great, knowledge. But I remember giving off an energy that I wasn't necessarily proud of. I remember biting a little bit. And I think that was where I was at. Instead of, being a little bit more inviting and wholesome and listening a little bit more, I was sort of playing a game a bit more so. And so I don't know exactly what that line is. I know exactly what that is. Pride versus curiosity. I don't know exactly what that is. It's something that I'm interested in diving into more so. But when I can be in touch with myself and try to be as wholesome as possible and not force it, maybe that's the difference. The difference is forcing it, because we were working a little bit, and so I don't think that, I mean, maybe he was a little bit tired, maybe I was a little bit tired, so I think there was a little bit of force that I was putting onto it versus, oh, look, we're having this lunch, we're drinking wine, look at this, we can have a great conversation, and boom, like, for an hour and a half or 2 hours, we can really be, discussing these different topics, and I can sort of explore their story and inquire about that and sort of where they're at and the challenges and how they've overcome these challenges, and really get into these things that are very exciting. For me, it's learning right time, right place. As I said earlier, I could do it whenever, or almost whenever, like for example, I wanted to record this because I'm posting 2 videos right now. I have to admit, my Wi-Fi is a bit dodgy, so I'm like I have access to their Wi-Fi, but I have to like the campsite where I'm at. Wow, the lighting is pretty cool as the sun's hiding behind this cloud. But so I'm not able to really post. I just realized I'm not looking into the sun. I feel, wow, I feel like I can see again. The sun's going to peek back out here in a second, but I'm just going to enjoy this for a moment. I'm going to try to create as consistently as possible. This is just a little aside. I'm going to be creating as much as possible. I'm going to be creating consistently. I don't know if the posts are going to be as consistent. When I get the chance, I'm going to just post whatever I have. But like, for example, like right now, Wednesday, May 30th, I have, 4 videos, I guess, including the one that's going up right now, that need to be posted. Because I was going to work with a friend initially, to help me post it, and I think there's some things that he needs to work out for himself, and so I'm really happy that he's pursuing what he needs to pursue, and also, I don't know, I did kind of feel a little bit uneasy at first of like, I want to work with friends, but I've had bad experience working with friends in the past, so I think it's for the best. There's some lizards hopping around in leaf piles over there. But I think it's for the best. I think at this point in time, I need to be doing this shit and figuring it out. That means that for these videos, they're going to be really simple. It's pretty much just going to be the video, nothing more. I was, thinking of doing, B-roll and, what overlays, whatever else. I don't know, making shorts out of it, doing a little bit more social media stuff. For right now, it's just going to be this. It's just going to be really simple. I hope you can appreciate that. I think this is what I want to give as well. I sort of want to provide this space that's just a little bit more breathing room. I think that's sort of needed instead of trying to go for the watch time and all this. I'm going to keep doing this for a long time. And so over time, it's going to get more traction, whatever. Right now, whoever's watching it is whoever's watching it. I don't, it's probably just me watching this. And to be honest, I enjoy watching these. I get a lot from watching these. In my other video, this is my therapy, genuinely. It goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, which is, this is fucking crazy. It really is crazy that I'm choosing you, which is anyone in the world who clicks on this video. Could be someone that knows me, could be someone that doesn't. I'm choosing you to be the person I can have no boundaries with, right? And I'm trying to get to that with other people. And I think I sort of discovered how to do that in my conversation with you, which is following that wonder, following that curiosity. But it still is really hard because I think it's a natural human tendency to want to, I don't even know what it is necessarily. It's by trying to force connection, or not even trying to force connection, by wanting to connect, or by, it's just, not everyone's going to everyone's at different frequencies, right? And not everyone's going to resonate perfectly, right? Whereas with this is just my frequency. So I get to be completely genuine. Versus if I'm talking to someone, it's like if I'm one note and they're another note, we're going to make some sort of chord. Might be more of a dissonant chord. It might be a beautiful harmony, but it's not going to be a perfect fucking pitch match, right? And so that's why it's different. That's why I sort of enjoy, and I'm learning, at the beginning of this, I thought I just want to talk to people more. No, I'm really learning that I want to, I'm enjoying just the solo stuff as well. When I talk to other people, they're going to have their agenda, they're going to have their desires, they're going to have what they want to say, what they want to get across, and it's going to become a mess. And a beautiful mess, of course. That's the idea of it. That's the art of it. That's what I'm excited for. But it's not going to be like this, right? Where I can just get it across completely. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly what to lean into, or not what to lean into, but what to be grateful for, and what's there, what's really there for whatever situation I'm in, so that I can keep bringing this space to you. That's, again, I want to consider this more as a space. Sure, it's content. Sure, it's entertainment. I would like to lean away from those terms. For me, I want to provide you with the space where you can, maybe you're like, this guy's kind of crazy in a lot of ways. I think I'm crazy in a lot of ways, but maybe you can be like, I can agree with a lot of things. Maybe you're somewhere in between. But at the very least, I want it to be something that can be put on, and I'm here to be genuine, and I hope that empowers you to be your genuine self, because that's what the world needs. The world needs us to be genuine, to follow our wonder, to follow our curiosity, and then I think most other problems will navigate themselves towards a solution. But that's just what I've been finding, and it's crazy. In talking, I find myself, right now, I find myself with this energy. I find myself with this excitement that I didn't have 30 minutes ago, or however long I've been doing this. Or maybe when I was okay, I'm gonna film it. I was getting a couple ideas together. I was trying not to, run them through my head so that I would be able to run them out my mouth. But before that, I remember I was like, man, I'm just tired. I've been feeling consistently tired. I and 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 I still do feel tired. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it could be a million things. It could be diet. It could be sleep. Could be, I didn't take any caffeine today. So like the other thing too is I've got, just if I'm being honest, like I am sober. Like I am sober, which I have for this last month, or the last 3, yeah, for the last month. So I guess to give you a little bit more of my story, this whole winter I was working in Colorado as a ski instructor, and then I came home for 2 weeks, and then I came out here to Italy. I started doing this about a week before, or no, like a day or 3 days before I left, and then I did one in New York, and then the rest I've done here. I was smoking cigarettes consistently since August until the end of April, and then I stopped, and I had like a couple zins, whatever, but then I stopped doing that like last 2 weeks for sure. So that's a big thing, not doing any nicotine. I was smoking weed regularly all winter, and I love weed, but I think right now I need time to like delve into myself, and cannabis definitely allows someone to hide from themselves quite a bit if they want to, which when you're in pain you definitely do want to. So can't do that. I'm just forced to be with myself. And then, whatever other drug I was dabbling with, not available either. Or I wouldn't even say that it's not available, because a couple villages away, I could get a couple things if I wanted them. But I'm happy to see myself a little bit more clearly. I'm happy to, I don't know if it's discover more about myself, but just be with myself a little bit. Because I think a lot of these things I've known about myself for a while. And in saying this, a part of me just wants to go away from the trope of, oh yeah, I went to Europe to find myself, man. Like I hate that. Maybe that is me. But I think I know myself pretty well. I think the sobriety is just sitting with myself for some time, sitting with these feelings that I need to go through, and maybe some things that I haven't gone through for years. Like whenever I stop smoking weed, I'm reminded of just like trying to fall asleep as a child, and just like the meaninglessness of the universe, and just emptiness and darkness. And so yeah, working with that, and then with a bunch of other shit in my life. 'Cause life has been throwing me a lot of shit recently, which I'm becoming increasingly grateful for, because it's just reps. It's just reps to be stronger. It's just reps to be a better person. It's just reps to prove myself, to prove what I'm doing is fucking actually worth it. That I'm not playing around with this. It's proof that when I fall in love again, that I'll know what it's like to have my heart broken. that I'll know what it's like in friendships to be betrayed, that I'll know what it's like, for all of this shit. And it helps me as a writer. It helps me in talking to you. It helps me in relating with other people. I mean, there's a million ways it helps me. And maybe the idealistic person within me wants to say, well, why can't we just not have any pain and not have any struggle and just love each other and just be well, I don't know. Maybe it is better that way, but maybe it's better this way, right? Because it feels like a cleansing. It feels like I'm cleansing myself. It feels like I'm cleansing my fucking soul. And I'm here for it. I want to be here for it. I think it's hard to say that, but I'm here for these challenges. And I'm here to find these solutions. And maybe they're not solutions, because I think a solution, like, what's the difference between a solution and a coping mechanism, right? So I don't know. That's a big subject right there, but I guess the way through that I see is leaning into love. I'm not hurt enough to turn away from love, to abandon love. Maybe it's impossible to be hurt enough to turn away from love. Maybe it's just a mindset. I hope it is, because I suspect I'll be hurt a lot more in this life. Which, again, it's not a bad thing. Because for me, it's just a reminder for why I'm living. And what I'm discovering is how to sit with myself, how to give myself the love I need, how to not rely on other people or other substances, how to just have that within myself. Which, it's hard, and I still feel like shit a lot of the time, and maybe that's just part of it. But again, switching the mentality of, no, this is good, and I'm excited to be able to share this. I'm excited to be able to take from this. And I don't know, I want to love as much as possible. And I know that's fucking silly. I know, and it's also like, I know too, it's like the whole like nice guy syndrome. All right, I want to be a people pleaser. I want to do this. So I want to be separate from that. Again, I want to be genuine. I want to have boundaries. I want to let people know where I'm at, and I'm not going to fucking fold to people. But I want to be able to see people and understand that we have the same soul, and see that that's bright, just like mine is bright, just like this planet is bright, just like the fucking sun is bright, and appreciate it. And I think maybe that's what love is, right? The theory of love is, appreciation. No, not. Well, I think the best definition is not seeing as separate from yourself, seeing the oneness. But maybe what that is it's in simple terms, or in step-by-step terms, is seeing something and appreciating it for everything that it is and nothing that it isn't. Just appreciating its uniqueness. Maybe is it appreciation? Maybe it's not appreciation. Maybe I'm fooling myself. Maybe I just associate appreciation with it, or maybe I associate it with appreciation. I don't know exactly, because it's deeper than that. And the problem is language doesn't go that deep. The roots of language are fucking, they don't even, they just barely poke into the soil of meaning, but that's about it. So I hope that you can see that my language is flawed. And as I'm saying it, and when I'm watching this, I'm saying, no, Cooper, you fucked it up. It's not like that, and I'm always changing my idea of it. So I'm just trying to speak from my point of inquiry, a point of perspective. Again, follow that curiosity. I think that's sort of the theme of what I wanted to talk about, and how that's rewarding, because even as I'm doing that right now, I feel fucking good. Like, it just gives me a good fucking feeling. Like, that's a drug, is curiosity. That's a fucking high, is understanding. But not even understand, because it's like, it's understanding, and then understanding that you understand less than you thought, and then understanding that you understand less than you thought. Like, diving deep into this pool of fucking, I don't know shit, but also sort of carving out an island of shit I know. And but I don't know, I guess putting it into terms like that, if I can imagine it, like, I can sort of visualize that as an art piece. That's not where the feeling comes from. The feeling just comes from the action of it, or the flow of it. Like, I try not to hold myself back in this. I try to just be in my skin and be in my words, and hopefully that comes across. And I don't know, because I believe that the universe is speaking through all of us, is acting through all of us. Well, of course it is. It's like we're all just little faucets, right? It's like God is the ocean, right? God, the universe, eternity, whatever label you want to put on it. We're all talking about the same. The source. We're all talking about the same thing. Let me just get my metaphor out. God is the ocean, and I'm also depicting the ocean as very dark as well. Can't see through it at all. It's not a sunny day on the ocean, right? It's dark. Okay? And human consciousness is like a boat, right? You can just think of like a simple boat, right? And it, the weight of the boat, like, we sort of sit into it, right? Or I guess humanity, our bodies, the boat is like our bodies, and our mind is like a little hole, right? A little hole in the boat, and it's that the consciousness, God, the source, whatever, pouring through, and that little pinhole, right? And there's all of us, right? And all these tiny little pinholes in the boat, and all these filling into the boat. And maybe I think we've succeeded when the boat sinks. I don't know if that's a very positive metaphor, but it kind of makes sense. Like, it's making sense to me right now. Maybe it makes no sense, but that's, it's kind of going back into the source. Maybe that's what death is. Maybe I could say that just, we're each our own boats. There's a couple different ways that metaphor could be put across, but I like that that faucet image, I don't know. I think that's a very good visual representation. Yeah. I could probably go on for a little bit longer here, but I'm gonna leave that thought. I want to say I'm gonna keep seeking out people to do conversations with, and I hope you can appreciate that with everyone I talk to, it's a different thing. That's why it's the free-minded frequency. Okay, this is my mind, and I'm letting my mind be free. And I think in all these episodes that are solo with me, I'm beginning to sort of establish a feeling, and try to be as genuine as possible. Again, I'm a fucking crazy person for doing this, but I love it. Like, this is feeling good, and now I'm like, this is my best one, and every time I do it, I feel better. And I've only done a couple, so I'm really excited to keep pushing this forward, and I hope it's something for you. But I want the caveat of, when I have people on this show, it's going to be completely different. In terms of, I want to let them do their thing, and I'm going to try to bring my perspective as much to it as possible. And depending on the person, some people want to really overtake what's going on, and other people sort of want me to lead it more. It really just depends on the person. But just note, like, it's going to be inconsistent, and that's the idea. That's the free-minded frequency. I want to give everyone a voice, and of course within reason, because my voice is here too. So I don't know, it's interesting, because how I define free-minded is a balance between open-minded and critical, right? Like, okay, let's let in as much. It's like, let's let all the information in as much as possible, but let's also, like, fucking criticize it, and not criticize in a bad way. Maybe criticize is the wrong word. Let's really take a look at it. Let's question it. Let's see it this way, see it that way. And I'll do that with myself too. So when I'm talking, you'll notice that I'll say something and then I'll be like, no, I'll go this way. I try to do that as much as possible. I don't always catch myself, and I won't always catch a guest. I'll rewatch the episode and I'll be like, I'll think about that, and then maybe I'll bring it up in a previous episode. But there will be many things that go unnoticed. Obviously, like and that gets on my perfectionist brain a little bit. So I'm sort of just doing this for myself, so that I'm like, okay, I can let that go because I already addressed it. So thank you for letting me address it. I'm excited for talking with as many people as possible, for giving, for sharing different perspectives, and hopefully this will be a point of resonance. And again, the free-minded frequency is the feeling of home. Peace and love.